Peace and blessings, y'all, in this corner boxing 24. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Thursday morning, February 20th. Cold in New York City, but not as cold as Midwest, Chicago, Detroit, Ohio, all them places. So I'm grateful. You know, it ain't that bad. I could deal with it. This is cold that you could deal with. So, let's talk about Floyd Schofield Sr., a liar and a manipulator, and his son, who just followed suit with his father, unfortunately, and the pullout from the fight with Shakur Stevenson. And let's just back up and just make sense of it, because I see some people that have big platforms on YouTube entertaining some of the nonsense just to get views, just to get subscribers, just to get support. I mean, I'm not big on YouTube, but I tell the truth though. I don't make stuff up. And if I keep grinding and keep being consistent and doing what I'm doing, then it's gonna pay off for me, because I'm not gonna lie, right? Just to get views and subscribers and all of that. So I'm not gonna entertain anything that Floyd Schofield and them are saying, because you just gotta use common sense. So Floyd Schofield, Kid Austin, didn't show up to the first press conference, the first initial press conference for the fight in Saudi Arabia. He didn't show up for that. So that already raised concerns with Shakur Stevenson. Now, there started accusations. The first one being his passport was stolen, or the signature page from his passport was stolen. And if I'm not mistaken, the passport basically shows where you've been, what countries you've been to. But you also have identification that you can use, and your passport is on file. And if you're trying to get a fight or go to another country where you got a fight that you've never been to before, but yet you have a passport, then your information should already be in the system. And if you don't have one, I'm sure there was a way that they could have handled that, being under Golden Boy, being under Oscar De La Hoya, because he needed to be in Riyadh. I'm sure Turkey, Golden Boy together, they could have worked that out. But they chose to put the blame on the opponent, Shakur Stevenson, and say that he had somebody to rip out the signature page from his passport so he couldn't get there. How did Shakur Stevenson do that? How did he know where he lived at? See, it doesn't even make any sense, man. Just stupid stuff. Then the next accusation was tires. They had some rental cars and the tires were ripped. Ridiculous stuff. Nonsense. So now you finally get to Saudi Arabia, and they had a round table with all the fighters that were fighting each other, Shakur and Ortiz and Dubois, Joseph Parker, all the fighters were there that's getting ready to fight each other. Beterbiev and Bivol. And Kid Austin was there, and you could tell he looked very uncomfortable. He was the only one that stood out that looked uncomfortable, like he shouldn't be there, like he didn't belong there. So that was another thing that I looked at, that I'm looking at, and that should be looked at, right? His uncomfortability, the way he looked. You can go back and watch it. Then the next day, you got pictures of him in the hot. Well, before the pictures, a massage therapist that's affiliated with Shakur put some cream on him, and he was poisoned. That was the statement that they made. Then the next thing is we see a picture of him in the hospital, wired up. So the more logical thing would be, this is your first time in the country, you ate something, maybe the food didn't agree with you because the food is not as processed over there as it is in America, so maybe it didn't agree with your system, and maybe you just have to eat certain things and work your way through to see what can agree with you. But again, if the food is not as processed, then it's not going to sit right with your system. So maybe he was food poisoned, as that was another allegation after the cream, but not by Shakur's people. He don't own no restaurants over there. He don't have nobody that could poison you over there. It's because you ate some food that's not as processed and it didn't agree with your system. Everybody's different. So if you go somewhere, it happens to people when they go to different countries, different restaurants. Even if you go to a restaurant that you've never been to before, you could be poisoned by the food. So that's more logical. On top of the fact that maybe he was having some weight issues anyway. But they took the route of blaming Shakur Stevenson for all of these things. Passport, tires being ripped, cream being applied by a massage therapist, or some kind of affiliation with Snack and Victor Conti, and then the food poisoning. So he pulls out the fight. I mean, they wasn't gonna let him fight, according to Eddie Hearn. After he'd been in the hospital 3 days before the fight, they wasn't gonna let that happen. The board wasn't gonna let that happen. Turkey, all of them was gonna let that happen. Okay, fine. But now you have to answer for the accusations that you made against Shakur Stevenson, and it's gonna take more than an apology. That might even go the legal route. Shakur don't really have to say anything. He has lawyers. He has people in his corner that can take that up, because you made some serious allegations that you were poisoned by this man, which could have really hurt you, or even led to your death if it was that bad. Like, if it was deliberate. But we know that didn't really happen. We know that you probably got the jitters leading up to the fight. You saw Shakur Stevenson was very serious. He wasn't playing, and he was going to use you to show out for all the things that's been said about him recently, especially after his last fight with De Los Santos, right? That he was running, and he was moving. So he was going to use you to show out. So I think there was some fear there. He probably was food poisoned. Y'all pulled out the fight. But Shakur Stevenson felt like something was going to happen anyway, because he said it before the fight. He said it to Eddie Hearn. I just saw an interview with Eddie Hearn where Eddie Hearn said, he told him, he said, yeah, he's here. They're here. They're in Saudi Arabia. And Shakur said, okay, but the fight's not going to happen, man. Something's going to happen. They're going to pull out. And he did. And that's exactly what happened. So, there's a lot of talk going on about Floyd Schofield Sr. The dude is a clown, straight bozo. I mean, I don't know what kind of streets he's from. He talks a lot of gangster stuff about how he fights and can fight, and I mean, that means nothing, man. You're not in the ring. Your son was going to be in the ring. But it's just ridiculous, man, that they did that. It was a slap in the face to Shakur, like he said, and now he has to fight a guy that on 3 days' notice. Was definitely not in the plans. Josh Padley. So just so he could get the work in, because he trained for 10-12 weeks for this fight. So now, not to waste the opportunity to get this fight, he's gonna fight this guy. And hopefully, man, the next fight for Shakur will be Tank or William Zepeda. Those are the two fights that we look at. I hope he don't have to go the route of fighting Joe Cordina. That's not a fight that Shakur needs for his career. And especially after losing this fight with Floyd Schofield that he didn't ask for. And that's another thing, man. Y'all need to stop talking so much. Y'all just make up stuff. Shakur didn't ask, even Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya, with his clown self, with his hypocritical self. Oh, he's just a kid. Why you want to fight him? He has no experience. Shakur didn't ask for the fight. They were calling Shakur out. They were calling out Tank. They were saying they could beat everybody. Shakur finally said, you know what? Let me make this happen. And they made it happen. But he didn't call him out. He didn't want to fight him. He was supposed to fight Joe Cordina. But Joe Cordina got injured. So that fight didn't happen. So stop making up stuff on here, man. Stop for clickbait, for views. Just lying. So I look forward, man, to, I'm not as, looking forward to the card as I was, honestly, because Shakur was going to be that was going to be the it factor on that card, man. That fight was going to show out. Shakur was going to show out with Floyd, with Kid Austin. That was going to be the highlight of the card. So now it's much less. I'm still going to watch it, but that's the fight that I was really, really up for. That fight, I want to see Bivol. I want to see what Magic Marvin Ortiz is going to do. I even want to see Carlos Adams and Shiraz. But I really wanted to see Shakur. And a lot of people really wanted to see Shakur. So now that he's not fighting Kid Austin, makes it a little bit different because we don't know this guy, right? Josh Paddy, we don't know him. Anyway, that's what happened, and that's where we at. So hopefully going forward, man, these next couple of fights, man, Shakur gonna get his just due, and he gonna get the fight that he deserves. Peace and blessings, y'all. In this corner, Boxing 24. Please subscribe to the page. Please leave your comments. Let me know how you feel, and support real commentary, man. We ain't making stuff up over here. All right? Peace.